Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Tuesday, November 4th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and Matt Robinson are with you on this Tuesday, ready to break down the NHL slate for a Tuesday. Big slate as usual. We'll get to that in just a moment. First, we'll look back on a Monday night that was, again, not the best night. We had a pretty good Saturday. A bit of a slog here these last 2 days, personally, betting-wise. But one of the good parts of last night was the comeback win of the Toronto Maple Leafs last night, and down 2-0 after the first period. I thought in the first period they weren't great, but they were okay. I didn't hate their first period. Neither did Craig Berube, based on what he said in the post game. But they had a couple bounces go against them. The second goal was a weird goal that just caromed in past Stolarz for the 2-0 lead. I don't think they were bad in this first period, Toronto, but they were absolutely awful in the second period against Pittsburgh. Down 2-0, you would think there'd be a pushback coming from the Leafs, and you saw anything but. Pittsburgh had the puck the whole period. It was a shooting gallery on Anthony Stolarz. It was just hideous, and the effort was bad. They were not winning any puck battles. They were hemmed in their own defensive zone the whole period. 2-0 became 3-0, and if not for Stolarz, it would have been a lot worse. So then the third period starts, and Toronto's just trying to get a goal, something, to try to give them some positive momentum. And that's when the comeback started. And it was just bang, 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 bang for the Toronto Maple Leafs. 3-0 became 3-1, quickly became 3-2. And then, of course, they tied it and would take the lead 4-3. 4 goals in the third period. Matthews, 2 by Nylander, and McMahon to give them a 4-3 comeback win. You don't have to split the atom to figure this one out. Something was said from the Chief in the second intermission. Garbage cans were kicked. Cuss words were used. Something was said by the head coach, because clearly message received by the Leafs in the third period to turn that game around and turn it around from a 3-0 deficit to a 4-3 win. Thankfully for me, who had the full game over and the Toronto team total over 3.5. I was counting that as a loss after the second period. They hadn't scored a damn goal after 2 periods, and they turn around and they get 4 in the third to cash the Leaf team total over 3.5. So we'll take that for sure. And Berube was right in the post-game press conference. I like that we responded in the third, but why didn't we see that in the second period? Well, we were already down 2-0. That's like, you should know in the second period when you take the ice, we need a push. We're down 2-0. Why did it take for me screaming and yelling and the third period for that response to come from this Toronto Maple Leafs team? And he said an interesting quote, too. It's all mental. So the mental blahs, or whatever you want to call it, with the Leafs, which we know we've talked about for years, maybe they're not totally gone yet. And certainly we saw signs of that last night. But they did get the win and came back and got the 4-3 win over the Penguins last night. That's a brutal loss for the Penguins. You got to win that hockey game with how dominant you were, especially in that second period. But tough one to go. And now Pittsburgh has lost 2 in a row. Don't look now. Penguins cooling off a little bit after that amazing October. Vancouver in a wild one with Nashville, kind of back and forth it went. Vancouver ended up with a 4-2 lead. Nashville responds with 2 goals to tie it. And then Brock Besser beats the clock in overtime. 2 seconds left. He rips one home, and it's a 5-4 Vancouver win against Nashville in a shootout last night. So give the Canucks credit. Very good to see that Brock Besser played. He was one of the many injured for the Canucks going into that game. St. Louis Blues, another team that needed a win in the worst way, and it didn't start well. Down 2-0 in that game. We didn't have much success here with the over by Fectas, and the first period St. Louis didn't get on the board, but they did come back. Dalibor Dvorsky gets his first NHL goal. Robert Thomas back in the lineup, and look at the difference he makes. He tied it for St. Louis, and then late in the third period, Pius Suter with the game-winning goal, and St. Louis with a 3-2 win, desperately needed win to stop the bleeding with how tough a run this has been for the Blues. So they get the job done. Nice comeback win against Edmonton there, 3-2 last night. And then Seattle with a 3-1 win against Chicago. This was a game that Chicago had their chances, and Joey Daccord was great. Puck just wouldn't go in for Chicago, in the first 2 periods. And Seattle, of course, got the 2-0 lead. But our bargain bin special from Perlo and I on the show yesterday. Andre Burakovsky at plus 370 gets Chicago's on the board and cuts the deficit to 2-1. But unfortunately, that is as close as they would get. Seattle would add a late insurance marker and get a 3-1 win there against Chicago. Alex, your thoughts on what we saw on Monday?
Yeah, we can start with that game. Like you said, it was Burakovsky coming through big for us on the betting front, getting a goal. We all liked him. You guys had it as the bargain bin. I just had it as the standard. Play along with it anytime point. But that was really only the offensive punch they had. Joey Daccord was fantastic in that. We've been talking about him, and we like him as one of those up and coming goalies. That's the kind of game that Seattle needs from him on a consistent basis if they're going to be anything remotely competitive. I still think this is a bad Kraken team overall, but Joey Daccord is one of those guys that can steal a bad team some wins. And I wouldn't say that was necessarily a theft of a win, but he certainly was a number one star and the reason why they got the victory in the 2 points. The Hawks just need to show a little bit more offensive punch, especially when Soderblom's in that. Now that he's actually been giving you some quality, saves, some quality starts consistently, you have to give him some goal support. This is not his fault anymore when you start seeing him losing games. Okay, and this is coming from me, who is probably the number one Arvid Soderblom hater in this country, if not the world. So for me to say that, it means, it's something needs to change as far as the consistency on the offense. We see the brilliance of this Hawks team offensively at times, especially at home, but you have to carry that on the road. Like I said, this is a very important road trip. This is how you build upon being a better team overall, winning games away from 1901 West Madison and having a better performance. So they've been playing tough in these games, but you got to get a victory now at some point. If you're the Hawks, Hawks have to win that next game coming up, and it's imperative. And there's a lot of teams on the horizon that we're going to talk about today who feel that it's imperative they get wins now. I like seeing that sense of urgency in early November. There's been seasons past where we see, it's November. Okay, there's a lot of hockey left. But no, there's a sense of urgency with a lot of teams right now, and that's why the hockey's been so damn good. That's why all the games have basically been, ending in one goal margins or going to past the regulation. So we love to see this as a fan. It's been a little tough to navigate as a better for me personally. This has been the best couple of days, hoping to get back on the right track today. But it's nice to see that sense of urgency with teams this early into a season.
You know what the pattern is? I've absolutely crushed it on the big card days. Like Tuesdays have been awesome, Thursdays have been awesome, and Saturdays have been pretty good. It's the days where you have the lesser amount of games where it's been a little more spotty with the results. So it's been weird how it's worked that way. But I do like the card today quite a bit. So hoping for a nice Tuesday coming up. Matt, you're anything? I know you usually keep it light volume on the shorter cards, but what your thoughts on last night?
Yeah, I did just that. Kept it pretty short yesterday. It was obviously a big weekend starting on Friday, Saturday and Sunday as well. A lot of games. You got college basketball starting Monday. So it's been a lot of sports, a lot of options, a lot of looks. So I kept it pretty light last night. I actually only had one NHL play. I didn't think it was going to hit after 2 periods, but I had the over 6.5 in that Pittsburgh-Toronto game. And obviously I didn't even watch the third period. I was like, oh shit, I guess we got a hit there. So
it's not meant to be. And then all of a sudden it was. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was my only premium look on WSP. So was glad to see that come through for us.
By the way, when we say WSP on this show, we're talking obviously about Wizard Sports Picks, our sports betting website where we're all at, not World Series of Poker. I just want to, make sure people are aware of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I should. If I'm mentioning it the first time, I should mention Wizard Sports Picks. Then I can refer to it as WSP. But yeah, not too much on the card last night. I was a little bummed because initially the Vancouver Nashville over 5.5 was intriguing for me, and then when I saw Quinn Hughes was activated and going to play, I liked it even more. But just given today's card and all that fun stuff, I stayed off. Obviously, that would have been a no sweat bet. That game went way over the over at over 5.5. But yeah, pretty light card yesterday. Obviously a 10-game slate today, so looking forward to that. But yeah, you guys pretty much covered everything in the other 3 games that I would have touched on. So happy to move on to today.
And move on to today. We will. Here we go with this Tuesday slate. We will begin with Philadelphia and Montreal. Montreal minus 160, home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. We've got Montreal just ripping and rolling. I mean, they're just they're a joy to watch. They're fun to watch. Cole Caulfield, Slavkovsky. You go on down the list of just the number of great contributions we've seen from this Habs team throughout the course of the season. 9-3 entering this game tonight. I think what stands out too about this team as far as their numbers this year as far as offense is concerned, we obviously have the 18 points from Suzuki off to a great start. Lane Hudson with 11 from the blue line. Ivan Demidov with 10 points. Caulfield, like I said, with the 10 goals and 15 points. It's just that's the core of this team as far as their young, top of the food chain talent, and they continue to really deliver the goods for this team. And not just 9-3 overall, but 4-1 at home. And now they face a Philadelphia Flyers team that's really, in my opinion, after playing pretty good hockey for Rick Tocchet, they kind of ran into a stinker of a weekend, dropping back-to-back home games to the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Calgary Flames. Back-to-back losses at home, 5-2, 2-1, outscored 7-3 in those games. And that's the problem from time to time the Flyers will run into. Their penalty kill has been phenomenal. Actually, they haven't given up a power play goal in 6 straight games. And that's significant here when you factor in how awesome this power play of the Montreal Canadiens has been. So what's going to win out? The great power play of Montreal or a very rock-solid penalty kill of Philadelphia, which has been very strong? So a great special teams war taking place here tonight in this game. One thing that's worth noting, Philadelphia winless on the road this year, 0-3, so looking for their first road win. Sam Montembeault confirmed in net here tonight for the Montreal Canadiens. He won the game against Ottawa, but I want to caution that, saying he might be starting to find his game again. I'm not back with that sentiment yet. He still gave up 3 goals to Ottawa Saturday night in the win, and he faced fewer than 20 shots. So I can't get too excited about, wow, Montembeault's back and he's got his confidence back. I still need to see more. We should see Dan Vladar in net here for the Philadelphia Flyers tonight, who had been very good pretty much until Saturday when he started the game. Remember, it was Kolosov in the game against Calgary, but Vladar started the game against Toronto. He got pulled. I don't think he was horrible, but it was probably one of the worst starts he's had. Really the only bad start he's had. He's been phenomenal outside of that game against Toronto. So Dan Vladar looking for a bounce back here. I just have this weird feeling Philly could sneak up and get Montreal here in this spot. I know they haven't lost on the one on the road yet. This Montreal team's playing some really good hockey, but I don't trust Montembeault fully when he's in net. He's still got a 500 record this year when he's been starting for the Habs. The numbers are still, above 3 goals against, sub 900 save percentage. Vladar's been outstanding for most part this year. I'm going to sprinkle on the Flyers. It's not a big bet, but I'm going to sprinkle on the Flyers in this spot at plus 140 and the draw, which I really do like. This is one of my favorite draws tonight. Montreal's been a draw magnet lately. Look at this Habs team. Look at all the overtime games they played of late. And the one thing with Philadelphia, you're going to get them playing tight to the vest. You're going to get them playing a lot of close 1-goal games. So I like the draw. I think it's got real potential here. Alex, what do you think? Flyers, Canadiens.
There we go. Yeah, I like that draw as well, but I would be careful with the Flyers. I actually kind of lean toward the Habs. This is a game where I would have loved to have seen possibly Dobish in net with that old trend of giving up the first goal and then grabbing the Habs live, and that may still be in play.
I'm not on Philly if Dobish is in net, by the way. So
no, it is Montembeault. Yeah, it's Montembeault confirmed, and I was saying that I would love to see that trend, and it could possibly be live because, as you mentioned, Montembeault's numbers aren't that great. So I might look to grab Habs if they are trailing early in this game at plus money. But I do like this draw, like I said, but looking at just the history of the Habs of late, that's just something you just kind of have to grab at least a little piece of. It's not my biggest draw play of the night, but it's something I do have in pocket. But, yeah, I've been looking more toward Habs live if they're down to goal.
No doubt. Yeah, that's what I meant was if Dobish was – I definitely know it's Montembeault, but if Dobish had been given the start tonight,
you would have just been on
draw. I would have been on Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I don't think I would have been on Philadelphia. Yeah, this is more – I don't know. Montembeault's not back. You give up 3 goals when you don't even face 20 shots the other night against Ottawa. No, I'm not. That's not a sign that you're back. that you got it rolling again.
Not from him, at least.
Not from him, at least. So, yeah, need to see a little bit more from Montembeault before we're ready to declare that he's found his top form again. What do you think here, Matt? Flyers, Habs?
Yeah, to be honest, it was likely going to be a pass game coming into the show. I mean, totals-wise, neither of these teams are super attractive first period over, full game over teams as far as trends go. Montreal is averaging 3.67 goals per game, but, the Flyers, they're not scoring a ton. They're not giving up a ton. Their games have been a little bit lower and slower. So I think you guys talked me into it. I do like the draw here. Just, both teams have gotten to overtime a fair share this year. They're both kind of upper middle pack in that regard. So may take a shot at the draw here, but sides and totals wise, it's probably a pass game for me.
Good stuff indeed. There we go. Pure Ruckus saying, well, that's good stuff. Yeah, Burakovsky, great to see that. And you took Beniers and you parlayed Burakovsky and Beniers. But Alex didn't have him to score as a bargain bin. He had the first goal, but it's nice to see you cashed in parlaying.
That's wonderful.
Just to get a goal, Burakovsky and Beniers. Excellent.
Good stuff, man. Cheers.
Congratulations. Yeah. Hey, it still helped. It still helped you hit that parlay. So great to see that. Just props. I think this is certainly a game where I could see Mishkov making an impact here for the Philadelphia Flyers. We'll see if he can carry that over. Zegras has been heating up. You can't go wrong with, Slavkovsky, Suzuki, Caulfield, anyone on that top line right now. So those would be certainly people I'd be targeting here for player. You know who's one I may look at too? Back in Montreal tonight with the Flyers, now as a member of the Flyers, is Christian Dvorak. Why not? Christian Dvorak here for the Philadelphia Flyers. Spent many years with the Montreal Canadiens. So I think that's definitely worth a look. Sprinkling on Dvorak in his return to Montreal, maybe to light the lamp tonight. All right, Carolina Hurricanes, New York Rangers. We've got Carolina minus 115 road favorites, 5.5 the total. Finally, a little traction for the Rangers. Pretty solid road trip. Got to give them credit. The signs of them getting some offense going. I thought their team play defensively improved. I thought they played one of their best games against Seattle. They didn't give the Kraken very much in that game. Now, they still had to go to overtime, but they probably shouldn't have. They should have probably won that game in regulation. But I think when you look at this situation here with the Rangers back home, pretty solid road trip. But this is still a winless team on home ice. This is still a team that's had major issues this year at Madison Square Garden. You do have Carolina coming off a 2-1 home loss to the Boston Bruins. We'll see if they can bounce back here in this game. I mean, at this price now that it's minus 115, I had to take a little bit with Carolina minus 115. I don't think this is a plus spot for the Rangers. They haven't won at home yet. They're off a road trip where they were pretty solid, but they got to show that they can do it at home. But what I like even more, and this is kind of risky because the Rangers have not been scoring on a consistent basis other than one game against San Jose on home ice this year. But I'm on over 5.5. And the reason I'm on this over 5.5 here is because when you look at Carolina, still banged up on the blue line, there's still no Slavin. There's still no K'Andre Miller, which is very disappointing. I know I speak for Alex too. We're really looking at Miller making an impact tonight, facing his old team. But unfortunately, we're not going to get that opportunity. Gostisbehere is still out. This is a weaker defensive team for the Carolina Hurricanes. And they will be debuting for the first time this season, Pyotr Kochetkov off the injured list, off IR, starting for the Hurricanes this season. And look, he's going to be rusty. He didn't really get into training camp or any regular season action to this point. And let's not forget, he did not play well down the stretch last year. And in the playoff starts he got, he also struggled as far as keeping the puck out of the net. So the door is open. The door is ajar here for the New York Rangers to find the back of the net. And as Nick says, the Rangers have real strong expected goals numbers. Like they should be scoring more than they have based on that. So I don't trust Kochetkov. First start back. Didn't play great down the stretch. Weaker blue line, decimated, depleted blue line in front of him. The door is open for the Rangers to score tonight and get offense going if they take it. That being said, on the flip side, Carolina off a 1-goal showing against Boston in a loss. Carolina this year off a loss, 3-0 to the over in 3 games off a loss this year. 14 goals scored by the Hurricanes in those 3 games this season following a defeat. So that's 14 goals combined in the 3 games this year for Carolina off a defeat. I think after getting shut down by Boston, they push for offense tonight against a Ranger team that I think can still be had at times. Carolina's got a good history of being able to light up the Rangers offensively. So 5.5, I'll take advantage of this lower number. No 6, no 6.5, and I'll go over 5.5 here tonight. Alex, Hurricanes, Rangers.
I'm actually going to go over by factor, playing pieces small pregame, and then adding more on once it crosses the plus money threshold with that over 1.5 and over 5.5. But like I said, weekend defense for Carolina. These are two teams that it's a bit of a rivalry. Like it gets a little testy at times with these two clubs. I think we can see that maybe animosity and kind of back and forth pace. Rangers know they have to bring it at home, especially against a top tier team like Carolina. So I think we see fireworks. I think we see goals. So over by factor, small pregame, add more on once you get the plus money in game.
Yep. Yeah, the table's set for me. I know this is a team that, other than the home game against San Jose, they lost that game, but they scored 5 goals. Other than that game, I mean, they've scored 1 goal or less in every other MSG home game. But the door's open here. You got a goalie that hasn't played in forever, a goalie that didn't play great down the stretch, and a blue line that is decimated in front of them tonight. The door is open for the Rangers here.
Yeah, when Carolina's media was kind of hyping up, Kochetkov looked good in the start for the Wolves. That rehab. He was okay. He still has some shakiness to him. He's not the goalie that we saw win a Calder Cup with the Wolves and come up with Carolina early on in his career. I don't know where that went. I don't know what's happened. I mean, the injuries have mounted too, but yeah, there's something still missing from his game where he could be at that next level. I just don't know where it's at.
Yeah, no doubt. And like I said, as far as what really gravitated me to the total here was that 3-0 off a loss to the over for Carolina. Every time they get shut down, that's when Rod says, okay, you know what? We want to be good defensively, but we also need to get scoring here. 1 goal is not going to win many hockey games, as we saw against Boston for them on Saturday. Matt, what do you think here? Carolina, New York Rangers.
I'm actually pretty aligned with both you guys. I do lean Carolina here a little bit, especially given this price. Coming off a loss, I think New York just hasn't really proved themselves at home. But I'm going to split it up, real small bets, but I'm going to take a little shot with Carolina and team total over 3. I'm seeing that at like minus 110, so it's a pretty good price. On the off chance they get to 3, you get your money back. It's not a huge loss there. But I do like the over by Fecta. Everything you guys mentioned, Carolina is still one of those teams circled for me just with the Jacob Slavin absence. I think he is their heart and soul, and I think things just aren't running defensively as smoothly without him there. So I like that angle. I like the fact that they're coming off a 2-1 loss. Carolina is going to be looking to jump. And then New York, they have struggled at home. They had a pretty good road trip. They did score 5 in that San Jose loss. So maybe that'll help kind of open the floodgates a bit. So hopefully we'll see goals from both sides here. And then I always, it's Tuesday tonight. We've got the TNT doubleheader. I always like to look at that angle as well. I think,
this is the first TNT doubleheader this game. Yes, that's right.
Yep. Yeah. And so, both teams always want to play well. It's the NHL. They're broadcasted in general. But when you're on national TV, it maybe gives you a little bump. Guys get a little excited. They'll have a guy interview from both teams during warm-ups, things like that. So I look at that angle. I don't have any statistical evidence to tell you that, overs happen more on TNT games. But I just do like when there is a game on national TV, I do think there's a bit more hype. Both teams kind of bring it a little heavier. So I'll be on first period and full game. I'm not going to do a Matty Rob special here. It's already at 5.5. So I'm going to have both bets separately. And those will be heavier plays. And then, as I mentioned, Carolina and team total will be smaller bets for me.
Yeah, Would you consider modifying the Matty Rob special here, maybe going a half a goal in the first period over 4.5?
You could, yeah. It's definitely worth a look on the off chance we get a 1-0 first period. You're still looking solid. So, yeah, definitely worth a look.
Taylor Hall prop, 100%. Right on board with that. Why not? Top line for him tonight with Aho. Worth a bet for sure. Up on that group with Aho and Svechnikov on the top line tonight for the Carolina Hurricanes. No question about that. And I'm going to stick to my Will Cooley, and Noah Laba. this is actually the one I like the most. Noah Laba, he scored the last game. He's now centering the second line, so a little bit of a promotion here from Mike Sullivan, giving him the opportunity to center the top line. So those are if I had to pick one from each team, Noah Laba for the Rangers, Taylor Hall for Carolina for goal prop in that game. Utah Buffalo, we've got Utah minus 135, road favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. Utah, back-to-back losses, cooling off just a little bit. After that great run, they lose back-to-back to the Oilers and the Lightning. Now they go back on the road. Typical ludicrous NHL scheduling, 4 road games, back home for 1 game, and now back on the road out east against the Buffalo Sabres for this Utah Mammoth team. We'll see if they can snap the 2-game skid. Buffalo, 4-3 shootout win over the Washington Capitals. Their 4th straight draw cash, that was. So just by default, have to take something on the draw here. This is a team now that's been to go into overtime now in 4 straight games going into this one. And this is an over by Fecta spot for me. I think for Utah now, where they scored just the 2 goals against Tampa, looking to get offense going. Buffalo, 5 straight Buffalo Sabres games have gone over. And I think that's got a chance to continue. And this goaltending matchup is going to be Karel Vejmelka for Utah, Alex Lyon for Buffalo. Vejmelka's slid back a little bit with his last couple of starts where he's been hammered for 10 goals against Tampa and Edmonton. Meanwhile, Alex Lyon has allowed 4 goals in each of his last 2 starts and 4 straight starts where he's allowed at least 3 goals. So Lyon's level of play kind of has declined a little bit. Now, when we say these goalies have declined, it's a team game. The defense hasn't always been as good in front of them either. For Vejmelka for the Mammoth or for Lyon for the Sabres. But the bottom line is the goalies haven't been nearly as on top of things the last few times we've seen them, Vejmelka and Lyon. So both teams, I think looking to get offense going. First period over, full game over. It's a 5-game over streak for Buffalo. Both meetings last year between Utah and Buffalo also went over the total. 2-0 to the over head-to-head last year. So, yeah, over by Fecta here in this game. Nothing on the side for the money line here because I don't want to fade Utah back-to-back losses starting a road trip, but Buffalo's been a damn good home team lately, and I don't really want to rush to fade them as a home underdog with how good they've been at home at KeyBank lately. Alex, what are you liking here, Utah-Buffalo?
Not so fast on that draw. I like Utah here in regulation, plus 105. I also have Mammoth tied with the over 4.5 at plus 105. I think this is a big-time game for the Mammoth, and I feel like they're going to bring it. It's interesting. They're not playing Vitek Vanacek, who actually has a very good record against Buffalo, 12-2-1. They're going with Vejmelka. Like I said, they feel like they need to get him in the form. Clearly, Vejmelka is one of these guys where the more games he plays, the more he gets into a groove. They're running him old school style, and that's what seems to work for him. So you go with what works, and I think this is going to be a big time step up. I also like the team total over 3.5. I got that at even money, playing that a little bit smaller, but I like Mammoth to win this within 60, tied with that over 4.5.
All right, there you go. Good stuff, and it's the obvious thing to see here in this game from a prop standpoint. But yes, he's not only playing well and been scoring a bit lately, but yes, Josh Doan against his former team, the Arizona Coyotes / Utah Mammoth. So the former player angle in effect there, if you buy into that. Paterka as well for Utah, going back to Buffalo. That's in play as well. If you really want to get greedy with the former player angle, you could even dabble on Kesselring, even though I don't know if he's going to score or not. But like I said, those are the guys that are going to be involved
maybe
here as far
Paterka
as
and Doan goals.
Yeah.
Paterka and Doan goals and Kesselring point.
Yeah.
If you want to get creative with it, that'd be the way to do it.
No doubt. I mean, more likely Doan and Paterka, clearly. They're the guys that are playing the forward position and are goal scorers. So, like I said, I think both of them here probably worth a look in this one. Matt, what are you thinking here, Utah-Buffalo?
Yeah, I am on the Matty Rob special in this one. I think it's a good spot for it because I love the first period over, and the full game over I like a lot, but especially at that 5.5. So I'll do a Matty Rob special on this one. It's a good candidate for it, given that the total is up to 6.5 now. And then no sides for me, no draw. And something I've had circled is the Josh Doan anytime goal prop. So I'll definitely be on that. It's not bargain bin material. It's only like plus 210, plus 220. But 2 goals in his last 3 and now playing his old team. I think when he got traded, it was a little bit of a shock for him. Buffalo is probably not the number one destination for a young guy right now, just given, the last few seasons. Although I do think they've, taken a step forward and at least in the last few games have looked a little bit better and momentum, after the slow start has started to increase. But for him, particularly as a player, he's definitely getting a lot more opportunity. He's been playing with the big boys, Tuck or Thompson, on any given night. He's getting PP opportunities. So from an individual player perspective, I think it's definitely been a great move for him. And I feel like he's building confidence and momentum with 2 in his last 3. And again, he's going to want to score and kind of give the FU to Utah for trading him. Make sure he has a good performance tonight. So I love Josh Doan anytime goal, any other props around him. I think he'll really be looking to play well today.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. On we roll to Boston and the New York Islanders. Islanders minus 160, home favorites, 6.5 the total. Here in this game, we got the Boston Bruins, obviously. Jeremy Swayman, Ilya Sorokin is the goaltending matchup here for this one. Swayman, after the really bad outing against Ottawa, has been certainly better here the last couple times we've seen him getting the job done in the games against Buffalo and Carolina. 3-game win streak now for this Bruins. Actually, it was the Korpisalo was in for the Buffalo game. It was Swayman against the Korpisalo back-to-back Islanders, Buffalo. Swayman against Carolina, rather, and he played a lot better in the game on Saturday. We'll see if he can keep that going here in this one against the Islanders. Islanders, obviously, solid offensively, taking a step back defensively. They have cooled off a little bit as far as the overrun. Remember, it was 9-1 at one point in their first 10 games to the over. It's now 9-3 after back-to-back Islander games have stayed under in their victories against Columbus and Washington. We'll see if that keeps going here. It has been a series history of overs in the last 10 meetings between these teams, 7-2-1 as far as that's concerned. So, and there was a great stat by Jonathan in our group chat, JD, with the fact that the Bruins on the road, 4 straight Bruin road games have gone over in the first period, and 4 straight Bruins road games have had both teams scoring in the opening period as well. 4 straight. So, maybe I am going to take the over trifecta here and make it a trifecta with the knowledge that Boston, last 4 road games, we've seen both teams light the lamp and get on the scoreboard in the opening period. And again, relying on series history where it's been 7 of 10 have gone over with these 2 teams. So a little over 1.5, over 6 split, over 1.5 first period, over 6 full game split, and just a little dabble in that both teams to score first period as well tonight with Bruins and Islanders. I lean Bruins because they've won 3 in a row and you're getting plus 140, and I don't trust the Islanders in this price range, but I'm going to stick to just the totals here. Alex, what do you think? Bruins, Islanders?
I grabbed over 6 and minus 118 this morning. And I will grab over 1.5 in game, but I'm with you on adding both teams to score pregame. So it's kind of the same effect, but I'm going to try and get a little greedy and get a better price on that over 1.5 in the first period. But I'm liking that 6. And definitely want to grab a 6 while it's out there. MGM has 6 at minus $1.18, and I think a couple of shops have it around minus $1.20.
Yeah, no doubt. So shout out to Jonathan. I'm glad Jonathan Davis got a mention on the Leafs radio broadcast. He's doing his thing. And no doubt. Good job. Yeah. Good to hear that. Yeah, no doubt. So Jonathan Davis pointing out to us that 4 straight Bruins games, both teams have scored. 4 straight Bruins road games, both teams have scored in the first period. Matt, what do you think here, Bruins Islanders?
Not a whole lot to add. Try not to be repetitive. I was on full game at over 6 pre-show, and then I do like the first period given that statistic with both teams to score. So I'll have first period over, and I'll have both teams to score. So really just rolling with the same here. I would lean Boston if I did take a side. I'm not going to jump on it. I'm not going to take the Islanders minus 160. While I've loved them so far this season on overs, they've been pretty back and forth consistency wise. Some games they look great and get the win, and some games they get blown out. So as long as we see goals in this one for both sides, I'll be happy. So I'll stick to just the over trifecta.
All right. And just for props, I'm going back to the well. Simon Holmstrom, streaky, scored in the last game for the New York Islanders. Plus 400, still getting pretty good price, good value with him. Morgan Geeky's been great. Wouldn't talk anyone out of that. I'm going to go back to Emil Heineman, too. Emil Heineman is now with Horvat and Barzal, it looks like, on the top line for the New York Islanders. So great value there, in my opinion, with Emil Heineman playing up on that top line with Barzal and Horvat, no doubt. I think it's Robert in the chat who took his name out of the his YouTube account name. It used to be Robert Carlson NHL All-Star Bets. Now it's just NHL All-Star Bets, but we know who it is. He's asking Matt, where did you play college hockey? I know. Matt will tell you.
Yeah, I just played ACHA D1 at the University of Arkansas. So after juniors, went to Arkansas.
That's why I get inundated with Arkansas football and basketball chatter from Matt. Yeah.
Yeah, which shouts to Arkansas basketball. Obviously, they didn't play anyone real, but they covered all the bets last night. They covered the spread. They got to the over. They got 109 points, so the full game over hit. So
against that juggernaut known as Southern University. Yeah.
Hey, better than Boise State. Look who they lost to.
Yep.
Hawaii Pacific, a D2 school.
D2 too. Yeah. Boise State had a horrible first game in football as well. I forget where they play in Southern Florida, but they've just had a rough go with sports this season, opening night.
Yeah, that's true. That was a stunner last night. Certainly in the college basketball ranks, what happened to Boise State there in that game. All right, back to the pucks it is. Next up, we've got Edmonton and Dallas. Dallas minus 130, home favorite, 6 the total in this game. This is the first game of the night. I got zilch, zip, nada. There's a good game to watch. Obviously, Western Conference Final rematch of the last 2 years. It's been Oilers Stars in the Western Conference Final. Should be a good game. I'm excited. But it's just you got Dallas with the injuries up front. Duchesne, obviously. Although, by the way, big news. We didn't even mention this off the top. Dallas will get a Stadium Series game in 2027 at Jerry's World there, AT&T Stadium. They had the big presentation before the Monday Night Football game there with Jerry's doing the interview with Scott Van Pelt on ESPN with Bettman talking about it there, that they are going to be hosting that game involving the Dallas Stars. So Dallas gets their first outdoor game coming up in a couple of years.
Game.
Yeah, quote-unquote outdoor game. Yeah, stadium game is what we'll call it. But so that was the big news there with that. This is a game where, look, Edmonton on a back-to-back after dropping the game in St. Louis with Skinner in net for them tonight. I feel like Edmonton's going to want to play well. Dallas, of course, is really banged up. I mentioned Duchesne. I mentioned, obviously, Ben's been out all year. Rope Hintz. Foxa now day-to-day here as well. And they're going to start Casey DeSmith. Not saying Casey DeSmith's not capable. He is. But just would be more bullish with Jake Ottinger in that. And Jake Ottinger is away because he just became a dad. So congratulations there to Jake Ottinger for that. And that's why Casey DeSmith is in net. So this is really a game where I'm just going to stay off, really. And total, it could go either way, in my opinion. But Dallas hasn't been scoring goals a ton lately, especially early in games. And I know something's got to give here because Edmonton has given up a first period goal, I think, in 2 straight games. And Dallas has gone 8 straight games without scoring in the first period. So what the hell is going to give here in this matchup? Very entertaining game to watch, very intriguing game to watch, but not a strong betting stance for me here, unfortunately. Alex, what do you think here, Oilers Stars?
Yeah, it's a live bet game for me. Like I said, definitely one to watch, and we're just waiting for. Like I said, these are 2 teams where it just kind of feels like there's another level for these 2 teams to get to. Just waiting for it to kind of break out and explode. Maybe that's it with Dallas and Edmonton. These are 2 teams who obviously have history in the playoffs. Maybe seeing one another can bring the best out of them. I'll wait live and look to bet for something there.
Yeah, there it is. And going back further, John Massey, yes, stating that, it's 5 of the last 6 for Edmonton, allowing a first period goal to their opponent. So it makes you think, geez, Dallas should get on the board in the first period. But then you'd counter that with Dallas not scoring a goal in the first period in 8 straight games. So that's why I said it's impossible to bet this game. Not impossible, but like I said, I think it's a very, very tricky game for me to find a real solid edge. What do you think here, Matt? Edmonton, Dallas.
Yeah, the only thing I'd really look at here would be first period and full game over. Both goalies that are, I think they're both confirmed. I know DeSmith's confirmed for Dallas. I think Skinner's confirmed for Edmonton. In their last 3 games have on average given up 3 or more goals, both of these goalies, which makes me lean towards that over at 6. the problem is Dallas, there's flashes where they have periods where, they could score 3 goals a period. And then they have flashes where 40 minutes go by. And I'm like, I don't even know if they had a quality
if they're going to score again. Yeah, that's what I feel watching them lately too. Yep.
So I think I would lean, if anything, at that over 6. I don't know that I'll play that tonight. This will obviously be a game that I'll be watching. So I think, to Alex's point, if I see some good pace in the first minute or so, then I might try and jump in live on a first period over once it hits plus money. I do have a prop look at this that I'll mention later in the show, but sides and totals wise, I think it'll be a good game. But Dallas isn't worth laying minus 130 given their injury situation. Edmonton plus 110 on the road in Dallas, not really a lot of value there. Should be a good hockey game, but not a lot of looks for me.
No doubt. As far as props for me, I'm going to go with putting on the Ritz, our guy Justin Ritskovian for Dallas. Scored the last game. I've been waiting for him to maybe start to give them a little something offensively, and boy, do they need it now with everybody that they're without. So Justin Ritskovian here for Dallas, plus 650, hell of a price. Mangiapane and Roslovic for Edmonton, because these are guys that are getting top 6 roles and not priced like it. Mangiapane plus 550. Roslovic now with goals in back-to-back games, and he's like still plus 340, plus 350 to find the back of the net tonight. So some good value options there on the Oilers side as well for goal props tonight. All right, next up we've got Nashville and Minnesota. Minnesota here laying minus 200 here in this, or minus 220 actually in some spots here. The total sitting at 6.5. to the under. This is the easiest pass from a side perspective, I can tell you that. Not a chance in hell am I laying minus 220 with Minnesota in their current state right now, and there's not really much of a chance that I'm interested in backing the Nashville Predators right now on the second night of a back-to-back either. So, it leaves you just completely off this game from certainly from a money line side perspective. That being said, as far as goaltending, Philip Gustafsson and Justus Annunen here for the Nashville Predators in between the pipes. And I'm not a big fan of what we've seen out of Annunen. 0-2, 4.1 goals against, 852 save percentage for him coming into this game tonight against the Wild. Numbers aren't pretty. I'm going to back the Wild offense tonight, and we'll take Minnesota team total over. That's the approach for me, because I think they can finally get something going here a little bit. And if nothing else, this team was not really scoring goals in bunches. 1 goal against Pittsburgh, 2 goals against Utah, 1 against New Jersey, 1 against Philly, 1 against Washington, other than 3 against Winnipeg in overtime. And they had a game where they scored 5 against San Jose. Prior to last game against Vancouver, they had struggled to score goals, but maybe seeing 5 goals go in against the Canucks in that victory that snapped their losing streak is what gives the Wild offense, Kaprizov and Boldy and their top guns a little bit of confidence here going into this game tonight against a goalie that is very, very beatable right now, as we know, in Justus Annunen. So the team total here for Minnesota over 3.5, minus 118. I did grab a little piece of that here. Alex, what do you think? Predators Wild.
I bet a little piece of goal in the first 5 minutes plus 152 just to try and limit my exposure. And I'm trying to get a 6 basically live. So that's, like I said, I've been doing that with these 6s, 6.5s. So just waiting for that to drop down and get the over on a 6. But if not, I have that little protection at plus 152. I do agree that we could see some goals here back and forth, but can't touch a side here at all. This is an insane price for the way Minnesota's playing right now. Be laying 220, but that also just shows how bad Nashville is, especially with Annunen in that. So just expect goals. This will be one I'll have on the TV, of course, being a local game. So maybe look for some next to score props. Kind of be maybe if it's a back and forth kind of pace like we're expecting, that may be the way to cash with this contest. Ian, you're on mute.
About that, yeah. Evangelista and Wood have been percolating for Nashville. There's probably some value with them. Michael Bunting for Nashville, back-to-back starts, or back-to-back games with a goal, I should say, for him. So he might be worth a look. For Minnesota, like I said, if you're going to trust in anybody, trust in, the top players. Maybe I look at Hartman, too, because Hartman is a former member of the Predators back in the day. Was with them for a little bit, not long, but way back many years ago was with Nashville for a bit. So maybe I could see him potting one as well. Matt, what do you think here? Preds Wild.
Yeah, to me, this lines up well for a Matty Rob special, same game parlay. I lean Minnesota in winning this game, but especially given the back-to-back angle, but minus 220 is, I don't even understand that. But I do think there's going to be goals in this one. So I'll probably do the special just to get it down to 5.5. I think if we're going to get to 6.5 or obviously to 7, that we get 2 in the first period. So I'm just going to throw a little parlay. And that'll be how I'll look at this game. This probably won't be a game that I'm watching. So it'll probably just be a check the box score after each period and hope that we get to 2 goals in the first and to 6 in the full game.
All right, good stuff. Tampa Bay, Colorado next up. This is the second game of tonight's NHL on TNT, Tuesday doubleheader. And great stuff from Turner, TNT. I give them a huge shout out, realizing that, look, they've lost the NBA rights, and the NBA was always Tuesdays and Thursdays on TNT, and then Wednesdays last year they'd have NHL. That now with no NBA, they are putting NHL hockey on a lot of Tuesdays, most Tuesdays moving forward. So moving forward, TNT is going to have 1 or 2 games every Tuesday, 1 or 2 games every Wednesday. And it is great to see that. So the national TV coverage and the expanded number of games that TNT is going to show for NHL, take advantage of the void left by the departure of the NBA. It's great. So good job, team. I wish another network that had NHL rights in the States right now would do the same thing. But nevertheless, other than burying them on ESPN Plus.
Yeah. Are they ever going to show a hockey game on ESPN too?
Yeah, really. Yeah, I guess
you can't. If you're in the States with YouTube TV, you can't even watch ESPN right now. So
no, that's right. Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. I'm glad TNT's helping everyone out.
Yeah, they are, and they picked a good one here. Obviously, Tampa Bay, Colorado. Colorado minus 150, home favorite, 6 the total. I'm not going to say anything about the side, because I want people to start getting to that website. I want the traffic getting there to wizardsportspicks.com. I've posted a free pick on the side in this game, Tampa Bay and Colorado. So go read the write-up. It's not my best bet on the night, but it's a case I made for one of these 2 teams tonight in this game. I will talk about the total here for this game. Everything screams over if you look at series history. Both meetings last year went over. Majority of the recent meetings have gone over. Yet Vasilevsky's in a very good groove right now. He has Tampa Bay defensively has played much better of late, and Vasilevsky's numbers against Colorado are very strong in recent head-to-head meetings. So it makes you think, over series history, but the way they're defending right now, Tampa Bay, you could see maybe this one stay. I always defer to series history, so I by default I kind of lean over, but it's not a strong feel for me in particular with the total here in this game. But it's a great game to watch. You got Tampa rolling on 5 straight wins coming into this game. They've actually controlled the series history, winning both meetings last year. 5 of the last 6 they've beaten Colorado. But Colorado is coming off a stinging loss to San Jose. And you know how I've often said on this show, a team off a loss to San Jose, sometimes that's that splash of cold water on your face. That's that slap in the face to wake you up and realize you got to play a whole lot better the next time out. So we'll see if that's a Avalanche wake-up call, losing to San Jose the other night. That being said, we've talked about this with San Jose. I mean, they are going to be a competitive team. You're going to have to work to beat them this year. But I'm still sure that doesn't sit well with anybody with that Avalanche team. They lost to San Jose in their last game. So I lean over, but not a strong opinion there for this Lightning Avs game. Alex, what do you think here? Tampa Bay, Colorado.
I have a fear of heights. That means something people may not know about me. But for this game, I'm actually going to climb a ladder here. And I'm going with team total and Lightning. I'm going plus 105 with the over 3, plus 155 with over 3.5, and a little piece of over 4 plus 270. I think Tampa Bay just puts the screws to Colorado tonight. I think we see a lot of offense here. This is a Tampa Bay team that's slowly but surely getting back into form, and I think this could be a big spot for them tonight. So I like the Bolts here. I probably will end up having a little piece of them on the money line as well, but I like team total more than that. So over 3, over 3.5, and over 4, those all at BetMGM, of course, by the way, we can get those flat numbers. That's the way I'm playing it.
There we go. Lightning alternative team total here as well, looking in those directions for them to light it up here. And the one thing we've talked about with Colorado, Blackwood's just coming back from injury. We'll see if he starts tonight. But Blackwood's just coming back from injury. He got the game against San Jose. And then Wedgwood, it's Wedgwood, actually. It is confirmed. It is Wedgwood. Yeah. He's not been as sharp lately, and we kind of could forecast this could eventually happen. He's given up 3 goals or more in 4 of his last 5 starts, where he's a guy that can come in there for a few games and play really well, but now people see him more in between the pipes and have an idea of what to expect from his tendencies. So, like I said, we'll see with Wedgwood, but obviously he hasn't been shutting the door nearly as well as he did early in the season. Matt, what do you think here, Lightning Avs?
Yeah, I'm pretty aligned with everything you guys mentioned. I mentioned it'd be interesting to see how Wedgwood would kind of fare. I mentioned that on the opening night show. And then obviously he went on to roll with 1 goal against in 4 of his first 5 starts, but definitely has kind of swayed the other way and come back to reality. So I'm going to go with series total here. I think that 6 number is a nice number. I believe this is also the second TNT doubleheader. So I don't want to, jump on the first period over and feel like this is a slam dunk track meet, but I think we get to 6. It could be a game like the Vegas Colorado game from Halloween where we got to that 6 number given the empty net goal late. But if Alex's bets come to fruition, I think Colorado can at least chip 1 or 2 in, and I think we get to that over 6. So I'm just hoping for goals in this one. I could make a case for either side, but yeah, just goals for me here, over 6.
4-game goals. It is a 4-game goal streak and a 5-game point streak right now for Brandon Hagel for Tampa Bay. And you know how on a heater he can get, and he's certainly on one right now. Anthony Cirelli goals in 2 straight games, and he's on a 3-game point streak right now for the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. So those are a couple of player props to keep an eye on here in this game tonight. On the Colorado side, the one that piques my interest just from a pure value standpoint here tonight in this game is probably Victor Olofsson, just because he's been getting some chances lately. He's seen the puck go in a little bit more, so that would be the one that I think could be down the board. A little value there on his props tonight. All right, I think we just saw this game, but we're going to see it again, even though it's an East versus West matchup. Florida and Anaheim. We've got Florida minus 160, road favorites. 6 the total in this game. You're going to hear a lot about revenge spot for Florida, because Florida got beaten by Anaheim just recently down in Sunrise. And I was on Anaheim there, team total, money line. Dostal had to make a couple of phenomenal saves on a Panthers power play in overtime for that game to get to the shootout, which Anaheim won. And they did face Tarasov that night against Florida, Anaheim. They did not face Sergei Bobrovsky in that game. We would assume Sergei Bobrovsky is going to start here in the rematch here at the Honda Center against Anaheim. Lukas Dostal is confirmed in net here for the Ducks. Revenge, I get it. Florida certainly, has a better chance here probably with goalie Bob. I'm not fading Anaheim at this price. I'm just not, and I'm not going to probably be on Anaheim tonight in this game like I was the first time. But this Anaheim team's won 3 in a row. They've got a great power play. Their young players are playing with a boatload of confidence. This team has scored 3 goals minimum in 6 straight games, and they've hit the 5-goal or more plateau in 3 of those 6 games. Like, they're feeling it right now, this young group. And they're not a group I have any interest laying minus 160 against right now. So I know Florida's going to be looking for redemption. I know Florida's obviously got Bobrovsky in net this time around against Anaheim, unlike the first meeting. I cannot get to Florida at this price against this young Anaheim group with the way they're playing and with the way Dostal's playing in net, and he's confirmed. If this was Mrazek, sign me up on Florida. Sign me up on team total for Florida in this game because we know Mrazek has had a rough year. But Coach Q realizes, hey, Mrazek can't be trusted. Dostal's a young guy. I know we're starting him a lot, but he's our guy that's playing well, giving us a chance. He was great in the first game against Florida. So this is Ducks or pass for me. And I might still dabble in the Ducks, but I wouldn't be laying this with Florida, I can tell you that. Alex, what do you think here? Florida, Anaheim.
I'm going to take a small piece of that Ducks team total over 2.5 minus $1.30. I just feel like I said, with the way that they've been clicking, at least offensively, they should be able to get 3 goals here.
Yeah.
If they, bring out the beast to wake up Florida and this goes back and forth, so be it. But I'm gonna play a little safe. I think, because I don't see this being a 2-1 or 1-0 Anaheim game. I definitely think they get the 3 goals. So minus $1.30, that's cheap enough for me, reasonable enough for me at 2.5.
Yeah, I don't know about win the game because I could see Florida kind of chipping it. So maybe I should be on over 6. Probably will lean that way, over 6 here in this game, Florida and Anaheim, because I think Florida will have a little bit better offensive showing than they did the last time against Anaheim. But let me, you mentioned the team total, and that to me, I probably will still get in on it, minus 125. Anaheim team total over 2.5, minus 125. The Panthers, as I've said, or the Ducks, as I've said, have scored 3 goals or more in 6 straight games during this 5-1 run. And I just looked at it just to confirm. How many times has Florida given up 3 goals? They've given up 3 goals in 8 of their last 9 games, Florida. 8 of the last 9, the Panthers have given up 3 goals. And that's all we need out of Anaheim here tonight in this game. So that team total makes a lot of sense. If you don't trust Anaheim to win the game necessarily, you can still bet them to score 3 goals, something they have done, Anaheim, in 6 straight games with their opponent, Florida, conceding at least 3 goals in 8 of their last 9 games coming into tonight. What do you think here, Matt? Florida, Anaheim.
Yeah, I'm just on the over 6 here. I kind of looked at first period over. Florida, I think, is dead last in the league as far as first period overs. But I was kind of looking at the angle of this is sort of a revenge spot for Florida. They just lost at home to the same team, so they're going to want to come out and play well. But for me, I think I'm just going to take over 6. If there's 2 goals in the first period or maybe 3, we're off to a hot start for that bet. So I could see taking a shot with the Ducks, and I love the team total over 2.5 angle. But for me, with a big card, I think I'm just going to keep it simple and just jump on the over at 6.
We've got a lot of point streaks going. For those of you that want to ride streaks when it comes to player props, we've got Leo Carlsson and Cutter Gauthier on 6-game point streaks. We have Sam Reinhart and Brad Marchand for Florida on 4-game point streaks. We have Carter Verhaeghe on a 3-game point streak. We've got Chris Kreider for Anaheim, Mackie Samoskevich for Florida, Anton Lundell for Florida, and Eetu Kulmint-Luostarinen for Florida, all on 2-game point streaks entering tonight. Sam Reinhart has scored in 4 straight. Chris Kreider scored in 2 straight. But I'd be interested certainly in maybe in goal props for both of them. But for me, Frank Vetrano scored the last game. He's the one Duck player that's been kind of scuffling offensively, but he got on the board in the last game for Anaheim against, I think it was New Jersey. Yeah, it was New Jersey on Sunday night. And now maybe that gets him rolling just a little bit now at the offensive end. And now he gets to play a former team, the Florida Panthers, which is where he was a few years ago. Beckett Seneca, think worth a look here. Again, still playing on that second line and certainly able to shown no fear for a guy that's not even 20 years old playing his first games in the NHL. All right, next up, Detroit, Vegas. We've got Vegas minus 190, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. Obviously, I'm on first period over. It's a Vegas home game. That should not be a surprise. Now, it didn't hit the last time, and it was frustrating because that was the game against Colorado on Nevada Day. Colorado gets a goal in the first minute. There isn't a goal the rest of the period after that. Hard to believe, but one of the very few instances that the Vegas first period over train has been derailed. But it's still been phenomenal for them overall, especially at home. That's what I'm going to go with here. I mean, you can make a case for the full game over, but this is definitely one where I would just go 80% to 20% to the board the first period over, if not just only bet the first period over is what I'm looking at here with Detroit and Vegas tonight. You have a Vegas Golden Knights team coming off that 4-2 loss to Colorado. You've got a Detroit team that had to struggle to get past San Jose 3-2 in a shootout, but they were able to there in that game. So we'll see if that keeps rolling here. By the way, Detroit and Vegas, 2 straight meetings between these 2 teams, Red Wings and Golden Knights in Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. First period over, full game over, did cash in both of those games. Alex, what do you think here? Red Wings, Golden Knights.
Yeah, this is a live target for me for the first period over. I know it's minus 130. That's a fair price, but this is one I definitely want to watch. I think it's going to be a good game. So I'm looking to target anything minus $1.10 or better with the over 1.5.
It's been a homer series, too. Last 2 years, Detroit's won both meetings at the Pizza Box, Little Caesars. Vegas has won both meetings here at home entering this matchup. John Gibson and Akira Schmid, the goaltending matchup. Remember, with Vegas, Aiden Hill's still out right now for them, and Carter Hart's still not eligible. So it's basically Akira Schmid time right now in between the pipes for the Vegas Golden Knights for at least the short term. Matt, what do you think here, Detroit, Vegas?
Yeah, I think this might be a same game parlay look for me because I feel strongly about the first period over. I may do them separately. I haven't really decided, but I'm similar to you. I am definitely going to bet the first period over here. I know we missed it on Friday, which was the last game that Vegas played. So they've had a couple days to kind of think about that shitty loss against Colorado. And not that losing to Colorado 4-2 is, some right home season over type situation, but given the Nevada Day angle, given, how they've been in the history of that game and just to kind of be flat and, kind of stick around and then end up losing. I'm sure they would have liked a better outcome, but I'm sure they had a good Halloween party, maybe gelled a little bit further, and then hopefully they'll have a big, strong start tonight. So first period over for sure. I may parlay that with an over 5.5, but like you mentioned, I'll be heavier on the first period over side, so I may just roll with that and keep it simple.
Yeah, I just did the on-the-fly research while Matt was talking. We've had 4 games off a loss this season for the Vegas Golden Knights, and in the 4 previous games off a loss, first period over hit in every one off a loss. And, of course, they're off the 4-2 loss to Colorado on Nevada Day coming into this one. So, again, 4-0 off a loss to the first period over for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Terry Ray Vegas with a great trend in there, too, about Detroit third period over, 1.5 on the road.
Yes.
10 in a row.
Yeah. There you go. So definitely something to keep in mind. Over third period, 10-0 on the road. Keep that. Yeah, you either have to bet it during the pregame or bet it during the third period and wait for.
You can use it as a parlay piece now pregame at some books because it's so highly juiced. You go third period, both teams to score, and maybe knock that down a little bit.
Yep, very possible, no doubt.
Yeah, plus 134 for both teams to score in the third. That's what I was checking.
Oh, that's pretty. That's a great option too. You can bet that right
game
away, and then you can always add over 1.5 third period if you get some 5+ minutes of scoreless hockey at the beginning of the period,
or adjust it with the full game over. There's multitude of ways to do that live. So
yeah, no question. There's not. Emmett Finney's cooled off, although you can't argue there's still great value as long as he plays with Larkin and Raymond on the top line. Maybe Casper as well. Maybe DeBrincat, who's been pretty good lately. For me, Brett Howden is playing with Eichel and close shave Barbashev. It looks like on the top line tonight for the Vegas Golden Knights. And Brett Howden's capable. He can pop that puck in the net every now and then when he gets an opportunity. So great spot there, I think, to take a shot with Brett Howden, elevated to the Eichel and Barbashev top line tonight by Bruce Cassidy on this Vegas team. All right, next up, final game for this Tuesday slate. The LA Kings -130 against the Winnipeg Jets. 5.5 the total here in this game. Kings still, after all this time, it's been a while. We're into November now. And this LA Kings team is still searching for win number 1 at Crypto.com Arena. They've basically kind of gone inverse this year where, last year they played so awesome at home and struggled on the road. And this year, the LA Kings are actually playing some pretty decent hockey on the road, 5-1-2, and they can't buy a win at home at 0-3-2 or 0-5 coming into this year. They're coming into this game at home. Back-to-back home losses after the road trip. They lost 4-3 in a shootout to Detroit. I was on Detroit in that game. 4-1 loss to New Jersey. I was on New Jersey in that game. So this is a one-way ticket for me. Winnipeg or pass. I am not endorsing LA at home right now, but in any way, shape, or form coming into this game. That being said, don't think we have goalies confirmed yet, and I'm a little leery with this deep into the day that Scott Arniel has not confirmed Connor Hellebuck yet, that maybe it's Eric Comrie getting a start tonight. I get that, just a little sense that could happen. So that's what I'm waiting on. That's what I'm waiting on for this game, the goalie confirmation. Even if it is Comrie, I'd let the lines balloon up because people will hammer the Kings if it's Comrie. I'd probably just wait and get Winnipeg at the apex. I still don't have the utmost confidence right now in Los Angeles snapping this home losing streak that they're on. And yes, for the Winnipeg Jets, it's been a nice run for them. 9-3 overall. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They've beat Minnesota. Game they didn't deserve, but they played a lot better after that with the wins against Chicago and Pittsburgh. They have a solid 4-0, not just solid. So we got a winless home team in LA, and we have an undefeated road team in Winnipeg. Winnipeg's won every road game this year, 4-0. Going into this one, again, Darcy Kemper projected for LA, and the fact that we've not had Hellebuck automatically confirmed yet for Winnipeg tells me there's at least some thought going on within the Jets coaching staff to maybe give this game to Eric Comrie. We'll see if that's the case, but that's what I'm waiting on. Jets or pass, I can tell you that right now. If I'm betting the side here, Jets or pass. Alex, what do you think here? Winnipeg, LA.
Yeah, check patreon.com for my play as well. It'll either be Jets money line if it's Hellebuck, or this will be draw plus maybe 370 or 380. Like I said, wait for that number to balloon up. It's already 360, so it could be like 380, 385 if it's Comrie confirmed. That's the way I'm leaning toward this. Jets money line if it's Hellebuck, draw if it's Comrie in that.
And how about we welcome back one of my favorite captains in this league. What a great guy. What a warrior. What a just tremendous teammate. Adam Lowry, the captain of the Winnipeg Jets, is back in the lineup, making his first appearance of the season tonight for the Winnipeg Jets. So they are definitely happy to have him back. That's just you win, and you have great leadership on a hockey team with guys like that. It's that simple. It's one of my absolute favorites in the league as far as captains are concerned, and great to have him back here for the Winnipeg Jets in this game. Certainly will help. They've done remarkably well, 9-3 to this point without Adam Lowry, but trust me, they will welcome him back with open arms. Make no mistake about it. Matt, what do you think here? Winnipeg, Los Angeles.
Yeah, to be honest, this one I mentioned yesterday in my video that I'm on Winnipeg money line here. I went through a lot of the similar statistics. 4-0 on the road. LA's winless. The Hellebuck thing does concern me a little bit. I think I'll still ride it either way. I did get in at plus 110, so I just don't think you'll see a lot of Winnipeg Jets plus 110 given how they're playing. They're the number one goals for team in the league, or at least they were Sunday night when I recorded that. They are third in goals against. So, LA is going to eventually win at home. They've looked better on the road, but I just don't know that Winnipeg's the team to break the seal, quote unquote. I think, they're a good team that is playing well on the road, obviously very comfortable on the road. So for me, I'm just going to stay Winnipeg money line here and keep it simple.
Well, here's the thing about the fishy line debate and discussion that's going on in our YouTube chat right now. It's a trap stuff. We thought there's some people, just not naming names or centering anybody out, but there was someone, or there's been people in the chat. What was it, a couple weeks ago? It was a game where Minnesota was awful at the time, and they were laying minus 160 or minus 170 at home against Pittsburgh, the Penguins, and we were all thinking the Wild stink right now. They're horrible. How are they laying minus 170 here against a Pittsburgh team that plays well in October, and they're off to this great start? And Pittsburgh was a huge underdog in that game, and people thought that was fishy, that Minnesota was a big favorite like that. And I said I don't give two shits about fishy or traps or anything like that. Traps are for mice with cheese. Traps aren't for me here when it comes to betting the board. I said Pittsburgh, to me, the way they're playing, the way Minnesota's absolutely terrible right now, I'm taking Pittsburgh plus the big price, and Pittsburgh won going away in that game. Just look at New Jersey, Los Angeles this past weekend. There were people saying LA's this kind of even money.
The books were begging people to take LA, according to somebody in the chat. The books were begging people to Okay.
Again, we're not naming names. I mean, there's a lot of people that subscribe to that theory. I don't. I handicap the game.
Not in this sport.
Momentum matters, current form matters, pricing matters, and that's all there is to it, in my opinion. But shout out to everyone in the chat. We love you anyway. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much.
Yes, we do.
Like I said, it'll be interesting to see how it goes tonight in the NHL. Great card on this Tuesday night. So, again, liking what I'm seeing here on the board. Hopefully it's a great night for all. Check out wizardsportspicks.com. We're all there. Me, Alex, Matt. Get our premium picks, single game premium picks, combo packs. You can get 3-pick, 5-pick packages on a daily basis. I mean, the run has been outstanding. 11-2 in the NHL alone for yours truly the last week. It's been outstanding with the NHL premiums. NFL and college is 27-19. 36-22 is the all sports run. So great results there. Check out me. Check out Alex. Matt Robinson's on a great run. NHL, all sports as well. Check it all out. WizardSportsPicks.com. Make sure you check that out. And again, videos now as well. The YouTube channel for Wizard Sports Picks. I'm doing videos. Matt, Alex will be involved, I'm sure, as well. So check out the Wizard Sports Picks YouTube channel for the Beyond the Lines videos on a daily basis. And also check out patreon.com/iceguys. $10 per month is the best value you could imagine for what you get as a Patreon member. You get goalie charts. You get totals charts. You got, obviously, all the bonus content. Thursday on the show this week, we will announce our Betcast dates for November. Free Betcast and our Patreon exclusive, our first Patreon exclusive live Betcast coming up in November. We'll announce that on Thursday. Obviously, for the Patreon exclusive live Betcast, you'll have to be a Patreon member to join us for that one. That'll be available. And of course, every day, our NHL betting card posted each and every day. Sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page for members. So make sure you check it out. Your subscription goes a long way to keeping the show going. Get on board if you haven't already and find out what 700 people know about the Patreon page right now. I think it's 700 that have all time signed up at one point. But currently it's almost 300 are current subscribed members of our Ice Guys Patreon page. So make sure you check it out. Get on board. Just $10 per month. Patreon.com/iceguys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. We've got some new looks in the store. We've got all kinds of different items, from T-shirts to mugs to caps to hoodies to even lucky rabbits. Grab something today at the Ice Guys store. That's at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, we got Bargain Bin Special of the night. Best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guy sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
Where the kings and queens shop.
Thanks to all our sponsors, including Royal Cannabis at royalcannabisshop.com. Get 20% off with promo code ICEGUYS. All right, Bargain Bin Special of the night. We had a dual Bargain Bin Special winner from Perlo and yours truly with Andre Burakovsky last night of the Chicago Blackhawks. We'll see if we can add to the tote with the Bargain Bin Special of the night on this Tuesday. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain Bin Special of the night.
Yeah, let's skate on up to Manhattan. We don't have the Hawks playing tonight, but let's go with a former Chicago Blackhawk. That's Taylor Hall of the Carolina Hurricanes. You get him anytime goal scorer, plus 350. Best price available at FanDuel. He's moving up to that top line along with Andrei Svechnikov. I think he gets a goal here tonight. So Taylor Hall, anytime goal, plus 350. My Tuesday Bargain Bin Special.
A very worthy choice. Taylor Hall, Carolina, plus 350 for Alex B. Smith with his Bargain Bin Special of the night. Matt Robinson, Bargain Bin Special of the night. What do you got?
Yeah, so for me, I obviously was able to hit the Bargain Bin Friday, putting out 2 picks. So I'm going to ride the 2-pick wave until we get a day where neither one hits. So I've got 2 plays tonight. One will be in that Dallas-Edmonton game I mentioned. I had one prop bet that I did like in that game, and it's kind of due to injury. So Tyler Seguin is getting a lot of opportunity, mixing in with the first line. He's on the first power play, which has been heating up a little bit. Edmonton's got a bottom half of the league power play. So give me Seguin power play point plus 333. I think, with him being on that power play, if they, happen to get 2 power play goals, I like him to get a point, whether it's a goal or an assist. So Tyler Seguin power play point plus 333. That'll be one of my bargain bins. And then my other bargain bin is a guy in the Carolina and New York game. He's got 2 goals in his last 3 games, 3 of his last 5. He had no shots in the previous game, I believe, against Boston. So give me Logan Stankoven, anytime goal, plus 390. It's almost plus 400, and he's a guy that's scoring, consistently, and 2 in the last 3. So I feel like the books haven't adjusted for perspective. Josh Jones is plus 210, and he scored in 2 of his last 3. So Logan Stankoven seems like good value for me. Big TNT game. Hopefully they pocket a couple of goals. Why not Stankoven? So Tyler Seguin, power play point, plus 333, and Logan Stankoven, anytime goal, plus 390.
There we go. A couple of nice bargain bin specials there for Matt Robinson. And I'm going to go with 2 as well. I'm going to go back to a good old friend of mine from the New York Islanders that I've cashed a bargain bin special with once already this year, Emil Heineman at plus 380 for the New York Islanders, up on that top line with Horvat and Barzal. So Emil Heineman plus 380 for the New York Islanders. And another one, as far as a player moving up to the top line, to Sin City, Brett Howden for the Vegas Golden Knights, plus 450 is the best price out there with him. So that is a phenomenal price with Eichel and with close shave Barbashev for Brett Howden on that top line. So Brett Howden, Vegas, plus 450. Emil Heineman, New York Islanders, plus 380 for my 2 bargain bin specials of the night on this Tuesday. Best bets. Alex, what do you got for best bet?
I'm going with 2 best bets. So we're going with team totals, and there's 2 that I really, really like. First one's that TNT late game with the Lightning and Avalanche. Like I said, I'm laddering the Lightning team totals, but the one I like the most is that over 3 flat at $1.05, plus $1.05, I should say, over at BetMGM. And then we're going with Florida Anaheim. I like the Ducks over 2.5, laying that 130 price. I think they should be able to get to 3 goals. So Ducks over team total over 2.5 minus 130, and then Lightning team total over 3 plus 105. Those are my 2 Tuesday best bets.
Tommy totals for Alex B. Smith tonight. There we go. Team total overs, Anaheim and Tampa Bay for Alex B. Smith with his Tuesday best bets, a pair of them tonight. Matt, what do you got for best bet?
For best bet, I'm going to keep it simple. I had it circled as my best bet coming into the show, and then the fact that you mentioned the stat coming off a loss, they're 4-0 to this total, as well as they're already highly trending over to this total. So give me Vegas, Detroit, first period over. 1.5. I think it's got a great opportunity to hit tonight. I think Vegas, they've had 4 nights rest, so they're going to be fresh, and that streak's been pretty hot. So give me Vegas, Detroit, first period over. That'll be my best bet tonight.
All right, Vegas, Detroit, Vegas, first period over for Matt Robinson with his best bet for this Tuesday slate. Best bet for me for this Tuesday night. I don't want to call this a roll of the dice, but I know the narrative is the Rangers can't score at home. But I think tonight could be the night. I don't trust Kochetkov. This guy struggled. He was fighting the puck down the stretch last year. He didn't resemble the Kochetkov we saw, when he was at his best earlier in his tenure with Carolina. And he hasn't played all year. He's got 3 starting defensemen that are still out in front of him. The door's open for the Rangers to get some offense going here tonight at Madison Square Garden. But I also think Carolina scores here. I don't trust the Rangers completely yet at the defensive end of the ice. And Carolina's scored goals against them in recent meetings and why they've had success. So we're dealing with a 5.5. That's a big part of this too, and I think we can get there. Carolina, New York Rangers over 5.5 minus 115 for my best bet here for this Tuesday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Great show as always. And again, We've got Betcast dates will be announced Thursday this week, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week. Monday delayed start, but Tuesday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith and Matt Robinson, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck, and we will be back tomorrow on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.